I have pretty good lighting in the center of my garage, but this area over here gets a little bit darker. This is a Hyperlight Hexagon that I'm hoping I can use to brighten up that side of the garage. I received this guide from the Amazon Vine Voice review program for free to review. It would cost you $64 to buy it yourself. They have not paid me for my review, and my editorial opinions are my own. Right, so in the package we have a power cord along with some zip ties, the instruction manual with the Hexagon Hyperlight setup. We have some Y connectors and some 120 degree V connectors. We have some power little snap plugs here for organizing wire, and we have screws and drywall anchors for mounting things. And we have 6 of these little LED lights, and they look like they have plugs in here, so you can just kind of snap them into the connectors and have everything working. So there's various configurations how you can set these guys up. The 1-hex kit here actually comes with 7 tubes, so it looks like they've given me 1 extra tube and 1 extra 120 degree connector here. So to power this guy, you just take a 120 degree connector, hook 2 of the tubes into it, and the third side connects up to your plug. And all the other bends in your hexagon are the 120 degree V connector. And then wall or ceiling mount is done by putting a screw through this little hole here in the connectors. Alright, before I put this on the ceiling, I'm going to try a dry fit on the floor. So cue the time lapse. Alright, so less than 4 minutes and I have this thing put together with no tools. Some of those joints were a little fiddly in that they didn't, perfectly fit together, and there was a little bit of wiggling back and forth. The manual says don't use violence, you might mess up the connectors, so we'll see if I messed up any connectors when I plug this guy in. Alright, looks like everything is working. Each one of these bars claims to be 6 watts, so this should be 36 watts total power draw. Alright, the power factor is 0.58, so we don't have any sophisticated electronics inside. It is drawing 48 volt amps, which is actually only 28 watts due to the power factor there. So that is 0.4 amps at my 113 volt power here. Alright, this whole guy, which is a full hexagon with a power cord, is 1 pound 15 ounces, so basically 2 pounds for this entire thing here. So it's not really going to take any serious screws to get it attached to a wall or ceiling. So they provided some screws that are about 1.5 inches long. I'm substituting my own number 8 wood screws. These are 3/4. You can see here that head fits in the hole really well, and we have at least a 1/2 inch here. I'm going to be going into 1/2 inch plywood, so I think that's going to be a good length for me. Given the 2-pound weight, that was rigid enough for me to just do overhead by myself without a helper. And if you were trying to put up more than 1 hex, you could potentially do them a piece at a time as opposed to putting the whole thing together and then putting it all up at once. Now you might notice I have a garage door here, and so that low profile is very important for my clearance. I also need to tack that wire up so it's not just hanging there. I need it to go farther toward the corner before it goes down. So I had to provide my own wire management there. They didn't provide that in the box. So unless you're wall mounting this thing, the little provided 5-foot extension cord really isn't going to be long enough. They provide wire nuts and some wire connectors here. I suspect the idea is you're supposed to cut that wire, attach it into either your normal wiring or just patch up and make a longer extension cord. But if you're going to be making a longer extension cord, just put the extension cord down here and move on. That guy provides a lot of light. It has more visual interest than the kind of straight light that your typical garage light is. If you look down here, it's quite bright in this area. This is with the light turned off, and that's with it turned on. Alright, I've turned off all the other lights in the garage, and so you can see that guy there lights up that corner pretty well. I think I'd want at least 5 of these evenly spaced in the garage to fully illuminate it, but this isn't really designed to, you know, fill a room with light. It's an accent light. It kind of highlights a specific area. So this lights up the area that's underneath it pretty well. It also, you know, puts enough light you could walk around the rest of the garage, but not really work in the rest of the garage. So this is a pretty reasonable light for this price point. Couple things I don't see. I don't see a UL listed sign anywhere on this thing, so you know, there's a CE listing there, but I am not, you know, I suspect this is definitely not UL listed. The whole thing is like 30 watts total, so it's not drawing a lot of current, but I do not know what type of safety testing and engineering has gone into it. It's basically a little LED light strip in each of these sections. This, you know, it's 120 volts AC that goes through all the sections. There's a little light strip in each one of them that pulls power off of that. You know, it's kind of a thin vinyl-y plastic. The whole thing's plastic construction. You know, so it's not like a heavy-duty shop light. This is very much an accent light, a kind of a, you know, a decorative piece. So I suspect they give me these extra pieces in case you're assembling it into a bigger kit with more hexagons, or maybe just to give you a spare of every piece in case something is broken. You'll basically have enough parts to make the thing you want. I could conceptually put a single piece here coming off of my hexagon and have a 7th lighted segment that comes out of that using this guy here. I don't think I want to do that because there's open, you know, 120 volt you know, pins here that would be live, so I think it would be dangerous to just kind of leave that sitting that open. So I'm pretty happy with this as an area light. Given the lack of UL certification, kind of the plasticky build construction, I'm not planning on leaving this turned on when I'm not in the garage. This is something, you know, I plug that in when I'm here, when I'm working, when I need extra light, but I'm not going to leave this thing unattended.